Back of the Rolex24 at Daytona, and the one-time race-leading car, the Gasco. Stallings Riley of AlexGurney is in trouble. There was an incident coming off NASCAR turn 4, and Alex has slowed dramatically. It involved the GT car, 42 of Team Salem, Michael Oriema behind the wheel, and now Gurney is limping back to pit road.
Damage to the right front wheel, damage to the right front body, and you have to suspect with the wheel being that bad, this is the Porsche that had the crash in turn 4.
There's a bit of high-tech work going on that hood. Just must have come undone on the banking there, flicked up. Obviously slowed up, and Gurney ran into him. Very, very disappointing for AlexGurney.
Well, let's take a look at a replay. And this is what it looked like for AlexGurney. He's up high. Michael Oriema is center of the track. He drifts wide, and Alex has nowhere to go. And there's the contact.
He could absolutely not see it all out of that Porsche.
Daytona prototype sweeping through. AJ Armendinger led that charge. Now this is a separate incident down in turn 1 involving car 22.
Boy, 22's had a pretty checkered career in this race so far. That's the second time we've seen him at the start of the room.
Back to AlexGurney.
Oh, now the bad news is with that wheel being bent, you have to assume that the front suspension on the tie rod's going to probably take a hit too.
It can't be right, can it?
Now this is Michael Oriema, the Team Salem car. Back on pit road, needing that much attention. You have to feel for him. He couldn't see where he was going coming out of NASCAR turn 4. As we go back to our race-leading car, Max Angelelli being chased by Mark Goosens. Now the interesting story here is that during the off-season, a switch of team ownership as far as the SunTrust car, and look at this damage.
Look at this now. The whole thing coming unraveled, not only the tyre, but the whole race has completely ruined that nose, and those Dorsey ascent, it's bound to have damaged that suspension. It'd be a miracle if it hasn't.
All this in the first 5 laps of the race.
Well, of course, unfortunately, it caught him out too, coming out of NASCAR 4. If he'd just been a bit lower on the track when that happened, he could have dived in straight away instead of had to do a whole lap, which has done a lot of damage to that car.
Well, Gainsco Insurance have about 100 VIPs here this weekend. They were thrilled when Alex put this car on the pole position, and now they will be gutted. They will be devastated. And race leaders sweeping by already. This is costly. Calvin's on the spot.
Well, as you can imagine, Lee, a lot of damage here to the right front corner, and the key for AlexGurney was driving this car slowly and up back to the pit lane to not induce further damage to the suspension. Mechanics are going to work here. The rear end is being serviced in terms of tyres and fuel, and right now the mechanic is trying to evaluate if there is any further suspension damage to it. Initially they thought toe link, which is the link connecting the steering wheel, the steering rack, to the wheel as it turns through the corner. Right now there's a wheel going back on here, so maybe the mechanic feels right now there is no suspension damage. These noses, if the brackets are not broken, can be changed relatively quickly. Very expensive part of the car, but something that the teams are easily set up for. They'll typically carry about 3 or 4 spare noses for a 24-hour race, because this is not an uncommon occurrence. But right now, underneath, once that nose is off, I see one of the cooling vents has been torn, and the mechanics are making a little bit further investigation here to see if there is anything wrong. It's a long race. You're better to spend a few more seconds here in pit lane before sending the driver back on the racetrack with a car that is unsafe or may have a further problem.
Around about the 2-hour mark this time last year, this 99 Riley was involved in an accident as well. However, sadly, this time it has come a whole lot earlier. Now, problems too for this Porsche, the True Speed Porsche. Robert and Charles Morgan, Timo Bernard, the Porsche expert, started this car. Chris, you're on the spot. We might get some feedback on that a little later as we go on board with David Donahue in the Red Bull Porsche-powered Riley. And when we come back, we'll talk to the king. Yes, Richard Petty is with us when we come back.